How you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Michael. We're going to be speaking on the Capricorns for this reading. Begin. Alright, so the first one we have is envy, right? So we have, I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges, right? So people could seem like they might envy you or, become jealous. Like, here's the thing, right? If people don't typically see what's going on behind closed doors, their mind starts to wonder, right? Just like everything. And if you're the type of person that's to yourself and then you're kind of just, it's like the things you show is, how can I put this? You're not really showing your progress. Like, you're not somebody that's going to post every little thing that you do on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. You're somebody that's typically to themselves, but when you pop out, you pop out. You know what I mean? It's like, when you do your thing, people's like, they're gassed because they're like, they don't see the build up. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like if you've never seen an apple tree or a grape tree before and you just stumbled upon a tree, you're like, whoa, how does it get here? Like, this is so big. Like, but if you don't know the process of the fruit being grown or nothing like that, you just think it's amazing. Like, but that's typically what happens when people envy you, meaning they don't necessarily see the growth or the come up or whatever. That's then they're like how they, you know what I'm saying, how that happened. Typically it's from people that you're more so keep to yourself, or you're very to yourself. Like, you don't post everything and you don't show the results every time it happens because it's kind of unnecessary too. So this could be you could be receiving envious and you're just kind of just doing you. You know what I mean? We have discipline, right? So we need to practice discipline. For you guys that came in reverse, we have I can accomplish what I set my mind to. So you haven't been practicing a lot of discipline. Sorry, let me put this like this so you can see it. So you haven't been practicing a lot of discipline lately. You're not always gonna be motivated. I keep saying this. You're not always gonna be motivated to do things, right? Just get it done, even if it means like, like say even if you was in a happy mood, right? But you had to go do some business or do whatever you got to do. Even if that takes away a little joy from you, at least it's getting done, and you're not gonna regret it later because the toll of regret plays a bigger part than that little bit of joy taken away from you. Like, for an example, let's say you're having a great day, everything's going smooth, and you gotta go. Let me give you an example for everybody. Go wash dishes or something, and you're like, I don't really want to wash dishes. I want to chill, rather watch a movie. At least even if you don't drive and pack away, at least wash your dishes. You know what I mean? Try to get the most done as you possibly can instead of neglecting the whole entire business. This could be for whatever. I'm just saying something that typically everybody should be doing, right? Washing dishes. But it could be any business that's acquired to you. But this comes down to just, even if it's lack of motivation and you just do the bare minimum, is better than nothing, right? So start a task and just try your best. You're not always going to be willing to do it, but it's having that discipline. We have death. I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. And I was actually reading a book about this called the five different people you meet in heaven or something like that. It's a pretty good book, and it pretty much this is like the statement actually. A lot of endings come with new beginnings, so new relationships, new career choices. A lot of endings, like there's gonna be situations where you're gonna see in your life that, everything comes. It starts to show red flags. Like, things do start to end and things like that. You notice if it's a good thing, if everything's starting to look good or whatever. But now, don't really take like an ending of something as severe to say, this is terrible, or don't let it get to you, because it just means there's a new beginning. There's a new beginning coming somewhere. We have peace, right? I am being of love, and I release old negative energy, right? So you're releasing old negative energy, negative people, negative influences, things like that. Anybody that, and here's the thing: negative isn't just being all happy dappy, luffy duffy, having fun all the time, right? Negativity is more so taking away and not building anything from there. That's just subtracting. Like, for an example, if somebody's telling you some real stuff about something that you're like going through or whatever, and they're like trying to prevent you from keep going through it. If you think they're talking negative, it depends what it is. Like if you're making foul choices in life, like you're hanging around people that, like, I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say you're in a relationship or something, and guys or your bro or whoever's telling you, look, bro, or you look, sis, this person is right for you, and they see physically why, and they're like, yo, this person comes to him later, the normal, the old snaky, like, that's not them being negative. That's them trying to look out for you because clearly this person ain't right for you. Like, feel me? They're wrong her. They're doing Lord knows what. They're sitting there doing this, doing that. They're not really showing you faith or loyalty or whatever. So there's not really a negative standpoint on that. Or constructive criticism, you can even call it. You can even call that constructive criticism, right? Just being constructive and just critiquing on your lifestyle. You know what I mean? Negative is more so like, you bring somebody in the van or a topic, and they're like they just shush that down. Like they don't even want to hear it. They, you know what I'm saying? They act like they just don't. You know what I mean? It's, or maybe you're doing your own thing and people's trying to nip your brain to try to speak on it in a negative light where you're intending it for it to be positive. It could be whatever the case is, but you're releasing all of that willingness to be a part of that situation, a part of that negativity, a part of just indulging in that, right? If you know, like they say, there's no honor amongst thieves. So if you know that your friend's a thief, you don't think he's gonna steal from you. Like, gotta be careful indulging in all of that stuff, indulging in anything that targets subtracting away from somebody's life, taking somebody's life, taking from people, talking about people, talking down on people even. You know what I mean? You could talk about a specific subject with you and your boy or whatever, but don't talk down on them. It's like, you feel me? So just be mindful of the wordplay people use, right? If you're talking about a situation and somebody brings up a whole nother situation about somebody else, you know what I mean? Hey, you know, just be mindful of the energies, and nobody's saying you can't pick and choose the days that you consult with these people, but just be mindful of it. You know what I mean? Be very mindful. Because last thing you want to do is affect your life personally. Make time for self-love, right? I don't care if this is going for doing your hobbies. What are your personal hobbies? What is something that you enjoy doing? What is something that you can put your time to? You have 24 hours in a day. There's no reason why you can't put 1 hour or 30 minutes into something that you enjoy doing. Even if it's related to that, even if it's, let's say you used to be a high school netball person or a football person now, or basketball, even if it's taking your kids to the gym with you, let you shoot some hoops, something like that, to get that childlike energy. Or let's say you're up in age and you want to just you want to watch basketball films with your grandpa or whatever, your grandma, with your grandkids, you know what I mean? Because you're up in age, you can't really physically go out and do the hoop thing like you used to, but you can still engage with something that you hold dear to your heart, right? Which is basketball. So we still gotta make time for things that we love or we're really passionate about, even if it's the people around you, things like that. Just make time for it. Actually set aside time. Like, look, you're free this time? All right, cool. This is what we're gonna do. You feel me? So do that. We have release your blocks, right? So you guys haven't been releasing your blocks, and your blocks is just something that you basically stops and prevents you. Again, we talked about time, right? Let's speak on time. So a lot of people say that time is the issue. I want you guys to start trimming fat. That's what I've been doing. Start trimming fat as far as like the time goes, because we can often, if you really look at what you do, and I'm so serious. Like, I know it sounds like no, but I'm so serious. Like, if you really look at what you do in your day and you really write down a little list or whatever, and I know it sounds like a motivation, but I'm so serious. It's like it changed my whole perspective, and I'm just trying to show you guys information that I've learned personally. Hopefully, it helps with you guys too. But if you sit there and you watch how much time you sleep and how, like, if you're on your phone, what I'm saying, this what I'm saying. If you're on your cell phone, right, and you're idle or you're just watching TV or whatever it is that you do, and then you say, oh, I don't have time, you know, oh, that's I don't have time to do that. I don't have, you feel me? That kind of, like, whatever you're doing on your phone, you can replace that for something else. then in appropriate time you can make time for whatever it is that you really, if you really want to do it, you know what I mean? Because most times if you want to do something, you're going to make time for self-love. So you should make time for things, other things. Don't let time be a blockage. You know what I mean? If you got to take out something else to fill that gap, then do what you got to do. But don't let time be a block. Release all those blocks. People, time. You can't really be having blockages on your growth, right? But like, there's no point in having that, because I mean, life is all about growth. So if we're having blockages on opportunities, or we can't make time for that, or like, it's just excuses at this point. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to have excuses. We want to actually grow and develop ourselves. And the last thing we should be doing is putting blockages on our inner self. So if we can remove these blockages and allow success to flow through our lives and allow everything to work out as it should, it's kind of like, let me give you an example. It's kind of like, you know how people have like a day for cleaning or whatever the case is? Me personally, I like to clean 30 minutes of my day. I like to go ahead and just pick a room and clean it. You know what I mean? Even if it's clean, I like to keep it clean. So I like to make sure that it's clean. So these are the things that prevents trash from building up and you having to spend more time. So yeah, my days are pretty much free of other opportunities. So I want you guys to do the same. You know what I'm saying? Try to find ways to release any potential blocks. Even if it's not blockages at the moment, potential blocks. You know, doing your workings at a certain time so that you can get more time, more opportunities. You never know what happens. You really want to enjoy life, right? So your main goal is to try to structure to where you can actually enjoy it and release those tensions that could possibly prevent you. You know, so if you guys are trying to, as you guys see, like birds, right? Birds get up in the morning, they flock to the ground and all of that. They try to get the first ones there, right? Be the first ones there. You ain't got to be the first ones everywhere, but it's mostly about looking at it to say, how can you better your life? How can you establish yourself? Because I feel like we're on earth to, I mean, when you get a certain age, you know, when you're like 70 or 80 or retired and things like that, then okay, fine, you know, you say that you lived your life and things like that, I understand. But if you're like, you're still trying to develop who you are as a person and things like that, the main goal, if you don't do anything else, is just to try to better yourself, just to try to become a better person. I mean, because if you got that in mind, you're never going to, I don't want to say never, but it's hard for you to sit still. It's hard for you to, unless you're relaxing, unless you got time for relaxing. But it's hard for you to just be lazy. It's hard for you to just be laid back while everybody else is just kind of flowing with life, right? So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. If you guys have any blockages, get rid of them. If you feel like something could be a potential block, get rid of that too. You know what I mean? I like to do my videos, for an example, really early in the morning, like 5, right? Because 5 or 6 or whatever like that, 6 or 7, something like that. I ain't gonna, like, it's just specific. It's around that time, because I knew that around 9, 10, 11, you have potentially people that want to call and all of this stuff. So that's why I do it at that time. You know what I mean? I'm releasing those potential blocks of somebody from interrupting my videos. So it could be things like that, right? I'm just giving the personal example for you guys so that you guys can see that I'm just trying to project on some good life lessons. You know what I mean? And I honestly, it changed my perspective, right? And it allowed me to be more smooth with it. Because I don't like trouble either. Just as you guys see the spiritual channel, I don't like dealing with headaches and all of that. So I deal with them, but I don't like to have them. That's why I deal with them, get them out the way, and I prevent them if I can. You know what I mean? They said, I had this one guy that told me, and it stuck with me, it's going to stick with me forever. Prevention is better than cure. If you can prevent something from happening, i.e. a blockage, if you can prevent it, it's better than if you cure it. So if you guys can't prevent it, prevent it. Open up to change. If I'm telling you things and it might seem like, wow, like, you know, that's too much or whatever, just be open-minded to things. You don't know what could possibly happen in your life. You don't know if you can actually take these. It's not just me though, like it's plenty of people. If you're going to be on the internet watching stuff, you might as well intake from it. There's no point of watching it just, like, nothing in this world can be just for entertainment, right? I mean, there's things that we can learn from. You gotta wanna take from it though. You know what I mean? That's why one thing I do, I be trying to find information like through movies or whatever. You don't know what is hidden in the background. You don't know what's the story made behind things. And a lot of things that maybe you're not receiving anything from it. Maybe like I said, maybe you can replace that time with something else. I'm giving an example. Like I know a lot of, well, not say I know a lot of people, but there's people in this world that, for example, they love to play a sport, right? But they also love to watch somebody play a sport. Which I'm not saying that watching people play is bad, but if you never get a chance to enjoy your hobbies, like you actually going out and playing sports, then maybe we can shift around some time so that whatever you needed to do, like say for example, you have this business to sort out. Maybe you can sort out any business, any relations while you would have watched television, that football game, and replace it. I'm just being real. Like as we want to do everything in one day we can, right? So we gotta kind of sacrifice certain things for other things. We gotta say, okay, I give up watching football so I can go play on Sunday. You know what I mean? I'll shift it around. We gotta make something shake. We gotta make some moves because we can't keep sitting here and just like spirit team's gonna help you guys if we learn to help ourselves too. We still gotta make the effort, because that's the only way when opportunities are presented to us, we gotta be able to take them. So we gotta be able to willingly make the effort. And it's about life changes too. There's a lot of things involved, but you gotta be open up to it. You gotta be open minded to everything that comes your way, because you don't know if it's negative or positive until it affects you. So just be open minded, and that doesn't mean doing things or eating new things. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that having a clear mind and thinking about different things, doing things that essentially is gonna bring you positive energies. You know what I mean? Things like that. Let's see what else we got. Okay, lighten up, right? They want you guys to lighten up, right? You guys haven't been lightening up, so they don't want you guys to be so hard on yourselves. You know what I mean? Like things happen. It's not your fault. It's nobody's fault really. It's just how it played out, right? I mean, unless somebody physically or mentally or emotionally goes out and destroys or causes bodily or emotional damage or mental damage to inflict on another person intentionally, and there's nobody's fault that something happened or you forgot that. I mean, yeah, people play a part in it, but don't be so pressured on yourself. Live life. Let me tell you guys, it's not worth getting anything in life if you don't enjoy life, because our time is limited on this earth. We don't know when we're gonna pass away. So if something doesn't go a certain way that it was planned, fine. Do as you can at the best of it, right? Move on. Wait till the next time come around, because you want to enjoy your life. You don't want to work, do this, and then still have to go through these whole emotional roller coasters of feeling like, oh man, I didn't get it needed or this or that. Like, life is not supposed to be that way. That's why I say what I say on this channel, because I'm giving y'all the breakdown of what I do, but I'm also I'm not just being realistic, but I'm also being more spiritual too, like, because I do have great beliefs that everything does flow within the universe. And if you have to do both. You have to be practical, you have to be spiritual. You can't just sit there and pray everything's gonna work out, because then at that point it's like you're not doing anything for it to work out. You know what I mean? Like, if for example, let's just say things are going bad in your career or your job, whoever you're working for, red flags are popping up everywhere, and you're refusing to leave. But yet financial stability might be provided for you in other ways. You're refusing to open up to this change. You're refusing to establish yourself in a different way. Life only changes when we make it change. Now, like I said before, you also got to be spiritual too, because if you're not spiritual and you don't have that belief system, that's why I call it a belief system, because then you don't feel like you can actually make it work. You don't feel like, I know a lot of people that don't feel like it can happen. But if you feel, let me tell you, if you start with the spiritual, if you feel like it can happen and you believe in not only yourself but also the higher power and things like that, if you believe that everything in the universe is connected, there's a higher power that we serve. If you believe in this, like actually believe, I'm not just talking about going, no offense to people that go to church, I'm not just talking about going to church on Sunday or Saturday. I'm talking about every day. You see, let me tell you, no offense, but I mean, you have people that devote themselves to a certain character, but then they don't really believe in it that much. Because if you bring to them an idea or whatever, you can see them shooting it down like, no, that's not realistic. But I thought they believed in a higher power. So how can they believe in something if they don't believe in a dream or a desire? That don't add up. So people are out here faking belief. You know what I'm saying? I believe anything can happen, really. I'm gonna be honest with you. You don't know what can happen. And life's already showing us what can happen. This happened, that happened. Life's already showed us. You know what I'm saying? A disease traveled 2019 from across the globe and hit everybody around the same time. So life already showed us that it can happen. You know what I mean? It's up to us to believe it. Believe other things. Okay, we can believe the negative. Let's believe the positive too. Let's believe that we can make things happen and things like that. But you gotta stop being hard on yourselves too. Enjoy life. Allow life to flow. Make necessary changes and necessary structures to your lifestyle. I'll give you guys another example, right? Normally I drink coffee before I hop on live, right? You know what I'm saying? Get at the thing, and I'm gonna be real with you guys, right? But with coffee comes other requirements. For an example, I don't like the smell of it, right? I don't like my breath smell like coffee, so I would chew a gum. I'll chew some gum. But unfortunately, I can't chew, and I know this is random, but I'm just being real with you guys. I don't like to chew gum on camera because it looks funny, and you can't really hear me clearly because I'm smacking, and it's kind of low-key, kind of disrespectful, right? So I'm not going to do that in front of you guys' faces. So I say, you know what? I'm going to drink coffee. And you know, on top of that, I kind of have to spend a little bit more time sipping the coffee because I don't like to jug it. I like to sip it. That's when you get the most effects. That's my opinion. So I say, you know what? I'm not gonna drink coffee for a lot anymore. And this is the decision I made this morning. I've been doing this for like maybe a week, but I made a decision this morning. There's some little tweaks affect you. So because I didn't have to spend more time drinking coffee, I was able to hop on her this time, right? On time, ready to go. And also, I don't have to chew gum. So it's like a lot of things that I don't have to spend more time doing. I can spend more time doing this. And I can do that when it's appropriate. For an example, when I'm checking my emails or something around a later time. I have a time for that. So this is my personal example. It's them little tweaks that you make in your day that affect your whole life. Believe it or not. Okay, let's come over here. And I'm gonna tell you guys this because if I'm gonna give you a blueprint, I'm gotta give you some sort of testimonial, some sort of, does it work? You know what I mean? You're gonna ask me, does it work? Like you're talking all of this, but give me a little, and I could give y'all real examples, real personal examples. You know what I mean? And if I was live, you would have saw it happen. This is a pre-record, but it is what it is. You know. Feel in order to know. This comes from a standpoint of doing things. Sometimes you just have to start it. Sometimes you just have to try it out, right? I'm not telling you guys to listen to me. I mean, it is what it is, right? But I promise you, if you were sitting there talking to me, I'm going to listen. And if it applies to me, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take that information. So I'm learning to listen to him more than I speak because I have two ears, one mouth for a reason. So I'm really learning and really understanding the value of listening to people talk, even if it doesn't relate to me. I'm going to listen to it, and then afterwards I leave you, or whatever the case is, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to indulge in that information, and I'm going to see if I can apply it to my life. Because we don't know what we can apply to our lives unless we try it. And this comes to feeling in order to know. Sometimes you actually have to put it into practice, right? In this past year, I've had numerous trial and error. Y'all see it on my channel. I'm got this over here. I'm trying to do cards over here. If you look back on all these channels, you see the different phases that I went through, and I felt almost what I needed to feel to get to relate back to the card readings, because I just realized, like, you know, and it's phases. It's phases you go through. Sometimes you have an idea, and in order for you to actually know if it's going to, not even if it's going to work or not, but if you feel comfortable with it. Because remember, it's not about something making a success in other people's eyes. It's all about how you take it. Because if you're proud of your work, then you're successful. It's not about how well the videos do it. For me, it's about how I felt doing them, right? So that allows me to be more comfortable, and also how much videos I'm posting. Is it applicable to my life and my lifestyle? Things like that, right? I wanted to change it up, or I did. I went through it, I felt it, and this is just a perfect example for feel in order to know, right? You guys can look at the channel. You guys can see the different roller coasters, how it goes up, it goes down, it goes this way, it goes back to it, then it transfers up here. But we're back here, and we've been through our little phases, and we should be fine. We should be on our go. I can't promise what's going to happen in the future, how my tirade is going to come out, how the information I'm going to be speaking on, what type of information. But we're going to see where it plays out. And that's the beauty of life. We don't know where it's going to play out, but we have to enjoy the moments. Each and everything. Even sometimes the negative, you got to look back on and reflect on it. I want you guys to reflect on your situation that you went through. Because it's going to, if you don't, let me tell you, if you don't look at life and say, I'm going to reflect on it and learn from my mistakes, and not just learn from them, but really make it a practice to where it doesn't happen again, or at least on your control, at least your demand. If you can avoid it, if you can avoid situations, that's best than ever, right? So reflecting on your situations allows it to be like in your face, almost not in your face where it's like negatively affected, but it's like, okay, you start to pick up more and more information, and there's red flags, there's green flags, there's red checks, red X's, green checks start popping up. You just start to understand why it happened and things like that. So I definitely want you guys to do that. Fresh the fire, right? This could be an indication of maybe, well, I want to say pain, right? But let me tell you guys something. You guys might be releasing yourself. You guys might be unleashing your true selves, right? When you release your true selves, you see the mask. I feel like, I want to say this, right? And sometimes, now, these cards represent energies, and I often feel different energies when I read them. So I feel in this moment specifically that this is more about releasing your true potential is going to bring a little heat. You're going to get a little heat from it. You're going to feel a little pressure, right? There's going to be situations where you're going to feel a little pressure to do certain things, or, you know, a little pressure to kind of feel the fire. It's gonna feel pressure. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like transitioning to this, I felt a little tension because, you know, it's different, it's new, but it's something I've been doing, like giving little advice or whatever, or, you know, like receiving advice, giving, like just being a kind of like being a current or electrical current, where I'm receiving energy and I'm giving. Kind of like, you know, like you plug your phone in to if this makes sense. You plug your phone into your socket. The energy is transferring to your phone, but it's also being received from another source, from like the company or the pipeline or wherever energy specifically comes from, wherever the electricity comes from, the wires or whatever, is being drawn from there and taken into your cell phone. So I feel like I've been sort of like that. If that makes sense to you guys. I've been trying to like receive information, develop my life, and then try to give pointers if I can. Like, if you ask me, I'm not just gonna be out here just telling people random stuff. But if you ask me, or if it's relatable, or if it's appropriate at the moment that I could say whatever I need to say, then fine, I'm gonna say it. You know what I mean? And hopefully, if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. Like, it's not. Information is not for everybody. It's not for everything. It's not for every moment, right? Not all information you're gonna use at one time. In fact, that's almost not saying that's impossible, but it's like our brain typically focuses on one thing, and when you focus on one thing, you become bad at it. So I wouldn't say like the information, whatever I say, you're gonna all take it in one day. You might gradually grow into it. You might grow into other things. You might disregard everything I say. And that's fine. If it doesn't apply to you, I wouldn't want you to force it, you know? So it's all about things that apply to you, right? But as I say, you guys are going to be feeling a lot of pressure when it comes on to walking into your goals, walking into your life. But one thing about it, it doesn't matter how much you make, how often you do things. If you're able to pursue your goals and not even goals, if you're able to pursue what you genuinely like to do, regardless, then you're gonna be happy. There's a lot of people right now that didn't make it to the NBA or NFL, but they're still happy playing their college football, or they're not even if it's not college, they're still happy playing at the park, right? They might work, you know, or I wouldn't even say it like that. Let's put it like this. They might have not. I wouldn't say it like that, because, I mean, this is where it's controversial. It's like, we're not. You want to make financial gain and things like that and do what you do, whatever the case is. But just be mindful of how you're obtaining that. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of times where you might feel you have to obtain it in a certain way. Meaning, like, if somebody wants to play basketball, right? And they're playing basketball, they're very happy. Look at certain things, and if okay, does it really serve? And I know I'm offending you guys or whatever, but certain times we gotta start looking at things that we do if it's more of a hobby, or if it's more of a like actually a life changing thing. Like, be real, like, okay, basketball or football or whatever the case is, and it's just for people that might feel like they want to go for that career or whatever. I know I'm offending you guys, but it is what it is. When people play sports or like running, right? When people run, they run, right? Or they play sports or whatever the case is, right? When you go into the industries of like television and things like that, that's all considered entertainment, right? If you're a type of person, and this is why it affects certain people, because if you're a type of person where you don't want to sell yourself out, and you don't want to obtain to the rules of that specific industry, and you guys see people don't kneel, it's like there's a lot of political, religious things going on. So it's like, I wouldn't blame you if you chose not to go that route and make a financial career out of it because you didn't agree with the terms and regulations of the sport. You know what I mean? Like what it came with as far as making money from it. I wouldn't disagree with you, because you still gotta follow your heart. You know what I mean? You still gotta follow what you're passionate about doing, regardless, because that's the only thing on your deathbed you're actually gonna be grateful for, that you follow your desires. So I wouldn't, like I said, it's one thing to say be passionate about what you love and do what you do, but at the end of the day, if what you do or what you're passionate about or something that you consider a hobby but you want to make it into a career, if what you have to obtain to isn't necessarily going to make you happy, like the rules and regulations that you have to obtain to, right? I know a lot of people right now that work a certain career and they work a lot of hours. I know it, bro. So it's like, you feel me? It's like at that point, if it's cool for them, it's cool for me. But if what your regulations are, whatever it is that you was specifically enjoyed and you wanted to make it a career with things, you can do that as long as you're willing to accept the outcomes. If you're not, then you probably should find something. There's a lot of other things though. You know what I mean? Like I said, I didn't expect to be doing tarot specifically or oracle cards and things like that, or spiritual personnel to give spiritual advice or read cards and things like that. But it was kind of still in my limelight. I was still doing this involved with when I was working jobs and things like that. So I was still giving certain information that can relate to this. So if you guys are like a sports personnel and things like that, and maybe you can go and be involved with the little league football teams and still be able to do your passion and still be able to make an efficient income, and then maybe even go into finding out laws on how to develop your own football team so you can run your own show, so that you can accept your own finances when they come to the gate. Just think a little outside the box, right? Like I said, you don't always have to go with what's being presented, right? Because at one point, that's why I told my people one time, everybody wants to be guaranteed and guaranteed this, guaranteed that, and whatever the case is. But at one point, there was that person that created that entrepreneur job that you currently work at. You know what I mean? So while it's nice to go and follow where everybody else is because it's guaranteed, if I get a spouse, or we're just speaking on sports right now. If I get a volunteer, I get a spouse, I can do my thing. But hey, listen. At one point, that same person that's giving you that opportunity had to find their own way. Had to look at things from a bigger perspective. That's why, for me, I don't really just do videos back to back to back. I want to structure my life. I want to make sure that when I do videos, it's very easy for me. So when I'm I'll probably not be on her. I'm reading, I'm educating myself, so I know the words to say. I know how to approach myself, things like that. So where it helps me out, because I want to do it easily. I don't want to have to struggle with my wordplay or struggle with how I come off and things like that. So I don't want to have to do that. So I try to do things in advance so it can help me out in my life as a whole. I want to be happy, not just being happy all the time, but I want to get things done and be happy that I'm getting things done, right? You guys might need to take a step back from a lot of things. Might have to look at things from a bigger perspective. I was talking to somebody like maybe a year ago or something like that. It probably was a year ago. And they was talking about a football team, and I was just like, it's kind of. I'm not saying it's easy to do a football team like a soccer team. I'm talking about soccer. I'm not saying it's easy to do a soccer team, but if you're doing it where it's like, okay, you understand the rules on how these players get paid. We was talking about how players don't get paid or something from my region, right? So they was like, okay. I was like, wow, and they just set up build like a fence around a certain field, a public field, accept donate people people in, and that's how I think it. I mean, you have all of these other laws and all of that wanna make money from it too, you know what I mean? But like I said, if you're really passionate about it, you're gonna get it done. You're not gonna just go for what's being presented, but you're also gonna make opportunities as well. And you might even clash heads or even agree on certain terms when it comes down to making deals with certain people. You don't always have to go full out with a deal, but you can be like a contractor or whatever. I know a lot of people probably on contracts and just have little things. I know this took a turn, but this is like a real life example, because you have a lot of people that you meet in a park or something, and they're really good at basketball, really good at football, but they just be like, I'm not willing to sell myself out for some money or for recognition, because I love the game, but I don't love the things that come with it, or not. And that's why I say, it's nothing wrong with saying that, because you can definitely look into other systems, other structures on how you can go about doing things. If you're into the sport or you're into these things, you don't have to necessarily give it up. You can, like I said, you can start a little league. You can find different ways, right? I mean, you got to remember, these people that are considered business owners and things like that, they was at one point all of us. Like they just did something different, right? They just didn't they didn't follow the thing, so we don't have to follow their status. We can do our own thing. And as this card says, first to fire for when you're releasing your true selves, I feel like that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna go through little phases where things happen and this and that, but we really can't allow that to pull us away from it too much. If there's something that you generally want to do or you want to be a part of, even if it's something that people don't seem as like that big of a deal, like if you're a basketball player or something and you're playing at the park, even if you're just getting involved with helping the community develop their own basketball team or whatever the case is, and create their own sponsorships, and there's plenty of businesses that will sponsor other, and I don't think people really reach out to local businesses, local corner stores and things like that to get their name out there to develop a bigger brand. See, what they call it, networking. You know what I mean? But I think it's just it's kind of just this stamina of I guarantee this, and this is where we just gotta pull away from as a community, or even as people. We just gotta pull away from that feeling of wanting to be guaranteed. Because one thing about it, right? You can live life, have a structure, and things like that. But just continuously having that belief system that you don't know what could potentially happen. I mean, worst case scenario, you might miss out on some money, right? But you'll be happy though. You know what I mean? And I feel like most people that chase a certain thing or whatever the case is, they're chasing that so that they can be happy, but you probably already found your happiness. So I feel like once you guys go through these situations or whatever the case is, it might not seem like the general what everybody else is doing, and you're probably gonna receive a lot of backlash or situations that might not seem as comfortable. But you're walking in true passion, and that's at the end of the day, that's what's actually going to make you feel a lot better, right? You're gonna I know I'm going on and on and on, but you're going to feel a lot better knowing that you did what you're supposed to do. I just try to really just find the words that I really want to express to you guys. Okay, so we have fall apart, right? This comes from a standpoint of sometimes you gotta fall apart, or you gotta kind of go through something to really understand yourself. So this is for people, this is for my Capricorns that are currently going through it right now, whether it be depression, whether it be just sitting out watching this video in the bed, snuggled up, and 1 p.m. in the afternoon. This is for you guys, right? If you guys are like, feeling like, you lost everything, and I know a lot of hurricanes happen, a lot of disasters, and you guys are feeling like you guys lost everything. Only way you can go up from her is up. Like there's when you get to this rock bottom point mentally. I want to say mentally because I'm not going to say physically, financially, none of that, because that stuff all comes and goes. Right? I mean, whether or not you're fit, whether or not you're healthy, in finances, you got car, clothes, all of that stuff. Like that stuff is temporary. Everything that we could touch is all temporary, right? Even us, even this glob of meat is temporary, right? So we gotta start to put ourselves in a mental position. This is why I focus on a lot of the mentality. I feel like the mentality of a person defines the action, which it does, right? If a person always thinks they're gonna do something, they're gonna do some harm, eventually they're gonna do some harm to somebody, right? So we just gotta kind of reflect on that and understand, like, if you're going through something right now and you're forward apart, give yourself, look, create that when you build yourself back up, build yourself straight off of mentality, right? Do things that's gonna bring health to your mind. With your mind, you will earn your finances, because you're gonna make certain decisions that are gonna essentially make you happy and make you feel good, right? Meaning, like, you're not gonna have the need for a lot of that stuff that probably turned you down. You know what I mean? Or not saying a lot of that stuff turned you down, but you're focusing on being stronger mentally. Because, like I said, you're gonna fall apart sometimes. You're gonna hit this rock bottom point. You might even be there right now currently, but this is a process to build yourself back up. This is all designed to build yourself back up. I just encourage you guys, when you build yourself back up, to be able to do it in a way that is going to create that concrete structure, right? So if you had a wooden house before, mentally, meaning you had a wooden mental house, it's time to build that concrete mental house. It's time to see, okay, you saw where it went, fine, you lost everything, or you lost what you felt like was a lot, right? Now it's time to build yourself back up mentally. Now it's time to feed yourself that kind of feed yourself them type of products. Mental, right? Read. Stay away from toxic environments. Stay away from toxic people. Also let go of the feeling of wanting so much too. You know what I mean? Like, let go of that feeling of feeling like you need this and you need that, and you're willing to work for that. Life ain't promised. Don't even do that. Feel me? Don't even do that. Don't even work. Look, you could do your work as you do, but let go of that feeling of feeling like, well, I'll be happy when I get this. So no. Once you let go of that feeling, you'll be happy. And you have reached your goal of being happy without that thing in between that could potentially destroy you, right? So just keep that in mind. As you guys are falling apart, like I said, you guys build yourself back up, build yourself on more of a mental structure. Do things that's going to affect you mentally, even if it's just picking up a book and read, sitting in silence, things like that. Recharge your destiny, right? Allow your stuff to allow this energy to bring you closer to where you're trying to go. It's what mentally though, spiritually. And I'm not, like I said, when I say where you're trying to go, goals, dreams, all that, I'm talking about you as a person. I'm really not trying to speak on the items you get. I don't really like that stuff. That stuff comes and goes. I'm telling you, that stuff is cool to have, but remember, it's the same. Like, all necklaces are the same, all watches are the same. Every watch travels a time. You do not need a certain type of watch, right? These people that are chasing that type of stuff and they're guiding people into that, I'm not trying to throw shade or nothing, but at the end of the day, it'll be fake for me to sit there as a spiritual person and be like, oh, that's cool. Like, no, that's not cool, because then you have people that want to go and do those things, and that's fine. If you, whatever you want to do, go ahead, do your thing. All I'm saying is, if you chase a desire of an item to be happy, you're never gonna achieve true happiness, because then at that point when you get it, you're just gonna want something else, right? So when we recharge ourselves after falling apart, after going through these emotional roller coasters, we gotta get on a standpoint that would allow us to work more efficiently, allow us to get those things with ease. And I guess you heard me. I'm not saying that items are bad. I never said that. What I'm saying is, you want to get it with ease. You don't want to get that house, that car, whatever, to a point where you're stressing yourself out, to a point where you want it so bad you're willing to give up your life for it. You know what I'm saying? Building ourselves up mentally and putting the right energies into our body. I don't care if you guys don't really speak to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's just you and your girl, or you and your man, whatever. You just doing your thing. Maybe you go check people when you check them, but mostly you gotta focus on yourselves. You gotta focus on building yourself up. Anybody that don't like that is like so hypocritical, because they want you to be around, they want you to be good, but they don't want you to work on yourself. That's so backwards, right? So don't pay attention to that, though. Don't allow that to affect you. All you gotta do is focus on yourself and play it how you play the game. It is what it is. But recharging yourself, recharging your destiny, meaning putting things into position so that everything, your destiny, can alter the way that you want it to. I'm not saying that you can't have a certain car, a certain house, whatever. But pulling away from the one, I know it sounds weird, but pulling away from the one aspect of wanting it allows all of those things. So, okay, for example, you might have thought that you had to work all your life to get a 4, 5, 6, 7 bedroom house, right? But you just might have to change your mentality, build yourself up so that you can work a lot more smoother. You can make more, not say take more risks, but you'll be more confident in yourself. Like if you want to leave your position at your workforce to go start a new job or a new journey, and you can apply that same energy into yourself, now you have all the time that you wanted. You're happy, you get to go where you need to go, and you get to be able to probably make a little bit more, probably do a lot more, but you got this strong mentality to where in your mind you tell yourself, if it happens, it happens, if it don't, it don't. You don't get attached to that feeling. So that means you can be more risk taking. You can take risks to where you're like, yo, I can like I said, you can give up that guaranteed paycheck. Whereas other people, they're like, nah, because they're weak-minded. They're like, and there's nothing wrong. They just need to work on themselves. It's nothing wrong with it, but it prevents them from maneuvering into other aspects because they believe to themselves they have to have these things, which in reality, that's not the case. You're not going to die if you lose your job. You're not going to die if you don't have finances. The only time you would probably die of starvation or something if you can't eat. But if there's also systems, that's what I'm saying. There's also like systems out here that prevent starvation as well. You have food pantries and all of these other things, and I'm not saying that people have to apply for it, but we have to make some type of mental structure to ourselves. Even along the way, you would still work your position, you could still do all of these things, but if these things are affecting you in a mental way, then maybe we need to take a break, or at least we need to apply times to work on ourselves. We need to make more time in working on ourselves than giving others the time. Like if we're willing to spend 3 hours watching a Netflix film, but we can't spend 30 minutes on ourselves or an hour writing down a routine so that we can actually adapt and make sure we're cleaning the kitchen, make sure we feel good about our home, how can we ask for anything else? How can we ask for a bigger home if we can't even maintain what we have today? You know what I'm saying? So these are just all little changes for you guys to actually take you to a destiny that is desirable for you, right? And doesn't mean that you actually need these materials to be happy, but it's just saying that okay, if you change the way your mind's set up, because poverty is a mindset, right? If you change the way your mind's set up and you change the way your life is going and you change the way you spend your time, everything will flow a different way. It'll be like a train just goes this way, because that's just what happens, right? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hopefully, I know I said a lot, but hopefully something resonated with you guys. Even if it was 1 or 2 things, I'm not really trying to stress on that. I just want you guys to do what you need to do. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much, Capricorns, for watching this video. If you're not a Capricorn, you just want to see the energies and the videos and stuff like that, appreciate it too. Drop a comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.